The true story of Nick Leeson and the fall of Barings Bank. In the dazzling world of high finance, where billions of dollars change hands every day and fortunes are made or lost in seconds, few stories are as dramatic or as shocking as that of Nick Leeson. He was not a man born into wealth or power. He didn't graduate from a top university, nor was he trained by financial elites. But in the early 1990s, Nick Leeson did something no one could have imagined. He brought down Barings Bank, a 233-year-old institution once trusted by royalty. This is not just a story about numbers and banks. It's a tale of ambition, lies, and the devastating cost of unchecked power. Nick Leeson was born in 1967 in Watford, a town just outside of London, England. His family was working class. His father was a plasterer and his mother a nurse. They didn't have much, but they worked hard and they expected the same from Nick. Leeson wasn't a star student. He didn't go to a fancy school or university. After finishing his basic education, he began working at Coutts Bank, a place that mostly served wealthy clients. He started as a clerk, doing simple tasks like processing checks and managing accounts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. Even in these early days, Nick had ambition. He didn't want to stay in the back office forever. He wanted action. He wanted to be where the real money was made, on the trading floor. In 1987, he moved to Morgan Stanley, one of the big players in the world of finance. There, he worked in the back office again, but this time he was handling something new: derivatives. These are complex financial contracts based on the value of other things, like stocks, currencies, or indexes. They were fast, risky, and exciting. Nick was hooked. In 1989, Nick Leeson joined Barings Bank. Barings wasn't just any bank. It had financed the British royal family and helped fund historic events like the Louisiana Purchase. It was old, respected, and extremely powerful. Leeson didn't have a university degree or a polished background, but he was smart, hard-working, and had a deep understanding of how trades were processed. The bank noticed. By 1992, Barings gave him a huge opportunity. He was sent to Singapore to head up a new office called Barings Futures Singapore, BFS. His job? To oversee trading and the back office. This was unusual. Normally, the people who make the trades and the people who record them are kept separate to make sure no one cheats. But in Leeson's case, he was allowed to do both. It was a dangerous setup, and it gave him the perfect cover to commit one of the most devastating frauds in banking history. In Singapore, Leeson started trading futures contracts on the Singapore International Monetary Exchange, SIMEX. The idea was to make money from small price differences between markets, a strategy called arbitrage. At first, Leeson followed the rules, but then one of his co-workers made a mistake on a trade, losing about £20,000. Afraid it would make the office look bad, Leeson decided not to report it. Instead, he hid it in a secret account 88888. It was meant for fixing errors, but Leeson saw another use for it. That one small lie would grow into a web of deception so big that it would eventually destroy the entire bank. After hiding the initial mistake, Leeson began using an account 88888, which was a secret to cover up more and more of his own losses. When a trade went bad, instead of admitting it, he buried it in the secret account. Then he made new trades, bigger, riskier ones, hoping he could win the money back. At first, it worked. He made millions in profits on some bets, and the bank thought he was a genius. Barings' London headquarters praised him, rewarded him with huge bonuses, and sent more money for him to trade with. He was becoming a star. But no one knew about the shadow world of account 88888, where the truth was hidden. Leeson was living a double life. On the surface, he was Barings' golden boy, but behind the scenes, he was covering up massive losses and taking huge risks with the bank's money without permission. How could one man fool an entire bank? The answer lies in the power Leeson was given. Because he controlled both trading and the back office in Singapore, he was in charge of checking his own work. He could hide his losses by faking reports, moving money between accounts, and manipulating records. Auditors didn't catch on. Even when some employees raised questions, no one really dug deep. After all, Leeson was making money, or so they thought. He seemed too successful to fail. By the end of 1994, account 88888 held over £200 million in hidden losses. That was half of Barings' capital. But Leeson wasn't slowing down. He believed that if he could just win one big trade, everything would be fixed. But he was wrong. In January 1995, disaster struck. A powerful earthquake hit Kobe, Japan, killing thousands and shaking the global economy. The Japanese stock market, especially the Nikkei 225 index, which Leeson had heavily bet on, plunged. Leeson had placed huge bets that the Nikkei would rise. Instead, it collapsed. His losses exploded. In just a few days, the amount hidden in account 88888 jumped from hundreds of millions to over £827 million, more than double the bank's available trading capital. It was the end. There was no way to hide it anymore. On February 23, 1995, Leeson left a short note on his desk. "I'm sorry." Then he fled Singapore with his wife Lisa, heading for Malaysia, then Thailand, and finally Germany. He was on the run, trying to escape the storm he knew was coming, but the truth couldn't be outrun. 3 days later, Barings Bank collapsed. The bank that had survived wars, revolutions, and economic crashes was wiped out by one man's lies. The news sent shockwaves through the financial world. Investors panicked. Governments launched investigations. How could something like this happen? How could one rogue trader bring down a 233-year-old bank? Leeson's freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in Frankfurt and later extradited back to Singapore. There, he faced trial for fraud and forgery. In December 1995, he was sentenced to 6.5 years in Changi prison. Prison was tough. The heat, the conditions, and the isolation took their toll. While behind bars, Leeson received 2 more crushing blows. He was diagnosed with colon cancer and his wife divorced him. But against all odds, he survived. He beat the cancer and was released early for good behavior in 1999. After prison, Leeson rebuilt his life. He wrote a book about his story called Rogue Trader, which became a bestseller. It was later turned into a movie starring Ewan McGregor. He also became a motivational speaker, talking about the pressures of high-stakes trading, the dangers of poor oversight, and the personal cost of failure. Today, he travels the world, sharing his story as a warning to others. Leeson does not shy away from his past. He owns his mistakes and uses them to teach valuable lessons about honesty, accountability, and risk. The fall of Barings Bank changed the financial world forever. Regulators were forced to rethink how banks monitor their traders. Companies began to separate trading and record-keeping functions, making it harder for one person to hide wrongdoing. Nick Leeson's story remains one of the most powerful reminders of what can happen when ambition goes unchecked and oversight fails. It's not just a story about money. It's about human weakness, corporate blindness, and the need for transparency in complex systems. Leeson didn't set out to destroy a bank. He started with one small lie, then another, then another. He thought he could fix it, that things would turn around, but they didn't. And in the end, a single man brought down one of the oldest and most respected banks in the world. Even now, decades later, the name Nick Leeson is a symbol of how dangerous one person can become when given too much power and not enough supervision. A symbol of how even the strongest institutions can crumble if they ignore the warning signs. But it's also a human story, a story of failure, punishment, survival, and redemption. Nick Leeson's journey is a powerful tale that continues to echo through boardrooms, trading floors and classrooms across the globe. And it all started with a lie. Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the story. Drop a comment below. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more.